Nimanagiananik, Mami Winini Anishinabeg, Ogog, Ka Nagadawabadajig, Io Aki, Eko Weshkad, Ako Nungum, Egawikad, Kimigwewach, Nimanagiananik, Kakina Anishinabeg, Undaje, Kaye Ogog, Kakina, Eniagazijik, Enegukamigog, Kanadang, Eje Odapanangik, Endawajin, Odawang, Ninisadanoinawananik, Kenawendamujik, Kije, Kikindamawin, Weshkinigijik, Kaye, Keje Yadazijik, Nigije Wenimananik, Ogog, Kanigani, Songidejik, Weshkad, Ungum, Kaye, Ayanikaj.
Bonjour et bienvenue à la finale du concours uOGRADflix 2021. Mon nom est Christine Auger. I am an executive advisor in the Office of the Vice Provost Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies at the University of Ottawa. I am delighted to be your virtual host for our first edition of the uOGRADflix live show. Cet événement se tiendra en alternance du français et de l'anglais. Because of the online format, people are watching us from across the country and the world. Thank you for joining us today as we recognize and celebrate the remarkable research done by our graduate students. Today, you will watch the videos of 25 finalists of the uOGRADflix competition. Veuillez noter que 95% des vidéos soumises à notre jury ont été réalisées en anglais. These videos will inform and inspire you through a 60-second glimpse into the impact of the finalists' research journey. At the end of the event, you will be even able to vote for your favorite video with votes tabulated towards the People Choice Award in real time. There will be 3 additional podium prizes selected by our jury, and all 4 winners will receive cash prize and the opportunity to become a research ambassador for the University of Ottawa. C'est avec plaisir que je cède la parole à la provost et vice-rectrice aux affaires académiques, Madame Jill Scott.
Bonjour, hello. Je m'appelle Jill Scott et j'ai l'honneur de servir l'Université d'Ottawa comme provost et vice-rectrice aux affaires académiques. Je suis ravie d'introduire le premier événement uOGRADflix, and I'm also delighted to welcome you to unceded Algonquin territory. The pandemic brought us a lot of challenges. Incredible challenges for our graduate students, including isolation and disruptions in your research. But now is the time to celebrate. uOGRADflix is a new, exciting opportunity to come together and view some of the amazing research done by our graduate students. Nous avons beaucoup appris pendant la pandémie et j'espère que la nouvelle modalité, la modalité hybride, en ligne, bimodale, rend plus accessible l'expérience de l'apprentissage, l'expérience de la recherche et bien sûr aussi le partage. En plus, les vidéos de uOGRADflix vont être disponibles après l'événement. But what's most exciting to me is this tremendous opportunity for knowledge mobilization. Our graduate students are researchers of the future, les innovateurs et innovatrices, les créateurs et créatrices de connaissances. Nous avons une communauté de jeunes chercheurs et chercheuses, and your ideas will help us to imagine the world we want to live in, and your work will have an incredible impact on the kind of global future that we want. Donc, merci à toutes et à tous pour votre dévouement à vos études et à la recherche. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you very much, Dr. Scott. The videos submitted to the uOGRADflix competition were reviewed by a panel of judges according to the three following criteria. The first one, 50% communication. The second criteria, 30% creativity and visual impact. And the third criteria, 20% technical quality. Half of the points were based on how participants shared their message, while the other half were split between their creativity and their technical savvy. 4 prizes will be awarded. The winner of the competition will receive a $1,000 cash prize and will represent the University of Ottawa in the provincial competition. The second place will receive a $750 and the third place $500. At the end of the event, all viewers will have the chance to vote for their favorite video, which will win the People's Choice Award valued at $500. We recommend that viewers make a note of their favorite videos as they are streamed in order to cast their vote on the list at the end. Each of the video you will see is unique, but there is a common thread, a passion for research. J'ai maintenant le plaisir de présenter les 4 juges du concours uOGRADflix. Talia Chung, University Librarian and Vice Provost Knowledge System. La bibliothèque et la gestion des savoirs soutiennent la recherche et l'apprentissage, notamment en contribuant à la réussite scolaire des étudiants et des chercheurs. François Lamoureux, président de CXC, il y a contribué à son jury par sa vaste expérience des médias et son intérêt pour la vulgarisation de la recherche dans le monde extra-universitaire. Aline Germain-Rutherford, vice-provost Academic Affairs, son secteur se concentre notamment sur la technopédagogie sur laquelle reposent les outils des vidéos de notre concours. Et finalement, M. Guy Lévesque, Associate Vice President Research Support and Infrastructure. Le soutien à la recherche vise notamment à mobiliser les connaissances auprès du large public tel que le nôtre aujourd'hui. We thank them for reviewing the videos, selecting the 25 finalists and ranking the 3 winners. Thank you very much. It's not to review the videos made by our students. Each offers something unique and original, but there is a common thread. To all, it's clear that the students have a passion for their research and they want to make a difference. We will watch the video in set of 5 to give you the time to review them and choose your favorite. C'est le temps de sortir votre maïs soufflé pour mieux apprécier la projection.
C'est oui ou non. Vous n'avez aucun autre choix. This choice, which my uncle would often demand from us, echoes with great disdain within my childhood memories. From his perspective, there were only 2 answers to his question. Yes, you agree, or no, you disagree. This obsession with binary systems, good, bad, boy, girl, black, white, human, non-human, is not limited to my uncle. It dominates a large portion of our lives. Traditional theoretical and methodological models often bound themselves to constructed binaural views of gender, neglecting to provide effective means to analyze those outside of conventional Western heteronormative gender identities. Therefore, I'm developing a new framework that will allow researchers to analyze and approach the topic of gender identity when discussing popular musicians and their artistic personas, which takes into consideration queer theory and philosophical explorations of space and time. We're all in flux. Let's move together.
Concrete. When was the last time you gave this material a thought? Currently, concrete accounts for 8% of the world's carbon dioxide emissions. It is also an extremely water-intensive material. In 2050, 75% of the water demand for concrete production will likely occur in areas experiencing water insecurity. So then, why use concrete? Well, concrete is a fundamental building block of our infrastructure. It is virtually everywhere. So how can we minimize the negative impacts of concrete while still benefiting from its use in construction? The answer lies in the waste hierarchy. Currently, concrete's fate is at the landfills. At best, it is sometimes recycled. That's not ideal because recycling uses a lot of energy. So, through comprehensive case studies, my goal is to advance our industry to reusing concrete. Think Lego. You put it together, and then you break it apart, and then you put it together once again. To a new future in construction, thank you.
Hydrokinetic energy may prove to be one of the solutions to Canada's greenhouse gas emission problems. The principle is to use the velocity of running water to turn a turbine, similar to a water wheel, but a little bit more advanced. The amount of hydrokinetic energy contained in moving body water is based on this equation, so you can see that it's highly dependent on the velocity of the water.
But how do we determine how much hydrokinetic energy is flowing through a river? And how are we going to do this all across Canada?
That's my job. In my thesis work, I'm going to be using this equation to estimate river velocity all across Canada. You can see that I'm going to have to estimate river depth, river width, and flow of all rivers across Canada. Ultimately, my research will tell you if this, or this are suitable for hydrokinetic energy extraction.
Picture this. You match with someone on a dating app and you start chatting with them. At some point in your conversation, they either ask you to do something sexual or ask you on a date. You tell them sorry, you are not interested. You're alarmed when they respond to your rejection with an aggressive, hostile message. This scenario encapsulates my area of research. Specifically, I study aggressive responses to online romantic or sexual rejection. Although this phenomenon has been showcased in mainstream media, there is still a lot we do not understand. For example, how common are aggressive responses to online romantic and sexual rejection? Why do some people respond aggressively to rejection, whereas others do not? How does receiving an aggressive response impact the rejecter? And what does this mean for current and future consent negotiations? Answering these questions will help inform future research, Canadian law, and preventative efforts. In the meantime, take a screenshot of these resources if you have experienced online aggression and want more support.
In speaking to families in Ontario about how the pandemic has changed their sport participation preferences, I found that offering in-person programming without restrictions will be the best way to provide value for families post-pandemic. However, some conflicts have emerged. While youth want sport to go back to how it was before the pandemic, parents would like their children to maintain some informal sport that was taken up because of the pandemic and maintain some virtual sessions to help alleviate time and travel pressures. There are also variations arising based on type of sport. While competitive youth would like more opportunities to show off their skills, recreational youth would like to use informal participation to socialize with friends. While competitive parents would like to be active supporters of their children's sport, recreational parents would like to be passive supporters. Clearly, there's no one-size-fits-all approach. Sport organizations could consider moving towards a more personalized approach and offer different options for families to find the best fit for each context.
Thank you to our first 5 participants. This is a great start. I'm amazed at the variety of research done by our research and it's just the beginning. Wow, c'est vraiment incroyable. C'est avec plaisir que je cède la parole à la vice-provo associée aux études supérieures et postdoctorales, Madame Sylvie Lamoureux.
Bonjour, hello. Il me fait plaisir aujourd'hui, au nom de Claire Turenne, la vice-provost aux études supérieures et postdoctorales, et de son équipe, de vous parler rapidement aujourd'hui du concept uOGRADflix, une initiative qui a été lancée en 2018 par l'Université de Waterloo et qui a lieu maintenant dans presque toutes les universités ontariennes. So uOGRADflix is an annual video competition where graduate students have the chance to present their research and its importance, all the while demonstrating their communication skills and their creativity to a general public. So not only with researchers in their field. They have competed alongside their peers in their university, and the experience has enhanced their ability to present their research to a non-specialist audience. This is an ability that will serve them well in their career. Cette nouvelle initiative à l'Université d'Ottawa est une occasion unique de souligner et de célébrer l'incroyable recherche effectuée par nos étudiantes et nos étudiants aux études supérieures. Le concept a également été repris par la majorité des universités ontariennes. Et les gagnants de chacune des universités se réuniront à Toronto ce printemps pour un événement pour célébrer la recherche. The jury members for the University of Ottawa uOGRADflix competition have selected 25 finalists out of the 39 participants, and 4 winners will be announced at the end of this event. Les 4 gagnants seront invités au campus pour une célébration à laquelle nous leur remettrons leur trophée et le prix monétaire. Bon visionnement!
Des gestes non consentis en santé reproductive qui limitent l'autonomie de la personne qui accouche et dont les répercussions sur la santé sont dévastatrices se produisent dans nos institutions de santé. L'Organisation mondiale de la santé a déclaré la problématique comme un enjeu de santé publique où il y a une violation des droits à la vie, à la santé et à l'intégrité physique. Aux États-Unis, ce sont plus de 17% des femmes qui en ont vécu. On constate qu'il y a une plus grande importance accordée à l'enfant à naître qu'à celle qui accouche. Ce ne sont pas des questions simples. La priorité va à l'autonomie de la personne qui accouche ou bien au bien-être de la personne qui naît. Et selon qui? Dans quel contexte et conditions exercent les professionnels de la santé? Il y a les protocoles, les procédures et les règles. Est-ce que toutes les personnes qui accouchent vivent cette situation de la même manière? Qu'en est-il des personnes de minorité sexuelle et de genre? Nous ne savons pas. Ma recherche répondra à ces questions.
Are you a student that likes to think outside of the box, and yet you don't feel like you're represented in academia? Well, my name is Vanessa Irvin, and my thesis is the solution for that. My thesis is about the importance of creative methodologies and settler colonial education systems. The problem is that settler colonial education systems limit and exclude many ways of knowledge production. Overall, it suppresses and discredits other ways of knowing that are not Eurocentric based. My research shows the limitations of current Eurocentric systems. My research shows how creative methodologies create a more inclusive knowledge production and ways of learning. It also works to decolonize learning, knowledge, and education systems. Ultimately, my research is an action plan. My goal is to change our education system, how we view intelligence and knowledge, and to validate creative methodologies within learning.
This is what my summer looked like. Let me explain. Research suggests that the effects of the COVID-19 lockdowns have led to mental health deterioration in around 70% of Canadian children and youth. So for my thesis, I tested an 8-week program called DREAM for kids ages 7 to 11 by simulating an online classroom environment. DREAM stands for Developing Resilience Through Emotions, Attitudes, and Meaning, and it teaches kids how to manage strong emotions like anger, fear, and sadness using crafts, games, and original music. I had one control group, an English class, and 2 test groups, a French class, and a class that was taught using webisodes that were produced to help teachers facilitate the program in their own classrooms. By using research to support the DREAM program's effectiveness at increasing resilience and decreasing mental health symptoms, we may help get this low-cost program into schools and help Canadian children increase their resilience to face life's inevitable challenges.
DNA is the genetic code, which means it encodes the genes that tell your body how to make the proteins that are essential for all of life's processes. Your cells are packed with an immense amount of DNA, which stores itself efficiently by wrapping itself around nucleosomes, which wrap around other nucleosomes to form a dense strand, which wraps around itself into supercoils, which are stuck to other supercoils by sticky proteins. These sticky bundles form loop domains, chromosome domains, and other fuzzy domains that all come together to form the nuclear genome. There's enough DNA in one of your cells to stretch to your wingspan, and the DNA in all of your cells would reach to the moon. That's a whole mess of DNA. But how the heck is it organized? Because it is organized. Is it organized by gene function? That's our research question. I am a bioinformatician, so I used maths and coding to make a piece of software that turns sequencing data into a network model so we can see if DNA for genes that are functionally similar is physically close together in the nucleus. So far it looks like sometimes, yeah, but we still have a lot of work to do.
Tom has a flight at 3, and it's already 2. The terminal gates are about to close. He managed to reach the airport 5 minutes before the gates close. Unfortunately, finding a proper parking slot will take much longer, and he would miss the flight. But that will not happen to Tom, as his car has the automated valet parking feature. Our project solves this problem in indoor garages by proposing an efficient autonomous car parking solution based on garage-to-vehicle communication. Upon entering the garage, communication is established between the garage and the autonomous car. The garage sends the car its map along with the nearest empty parking slot, which saves the car the hassle of searching for an empty slot and controls the crowdedness in the garage. By enabling the feature from a mobile application, he's able to leave the car at the drop-off area, and the autonomous car processing unit take the lead and navigate the car autonomously to the nearest parking slot. Tom caught his plane, and the airport owners attracted more travelers to park in their smart garage.
J'ai maintenant le plaisir d'inviter Martine Lagacé, vice-rectrice associée promotion et développement de la recherche, à vous dire un petit mot.
Mon nom est Martine Lagacé. C'est avec beaucoup de plaisir que je me joins à vous aujourd'hui dans mes fonctions de vice-rectrice associée à la recherche à l'Université d'Ottawa. It is indeed a real pleasure to be here with you today for the uOGRADflix video pitch competition through this video message, which, unlike yours, might stretch a little bit over 60 seconds. This competition is a remarkable opportunity to not only recognize the brilliant research done by uOttawa graduate students in all faculties, but also to showcase their ability and talent to share the essence and the impact of their scientific work with the public at large. Chacune et chacun d'entre vous est engagé dans un parcours de recherche avec certainement le désir de contribuer à faire avancer l'état des connaissances dans son domaine et plus concrètement, à quelque part, chaque monde, à contribuer à faire la différence dans nos sociétés, dans la vie des gens, en apportant des solutions innovantes à des problématiques d'ordre médical, environnemental, social, juridique, technologique ou encore économique. As you probably know, the University of Ottawa is among Canada's top universities in terms of research intensity, and our research is founded on excellence, relevance, and impact. If one of the Office of the Vice President's research missions is to support researchers as they apply their expertise, talent, and imagination to build a better world, it is also to build a culture of research within all faculties and to leverage research opportunities for students. La bourse du programme d'initiation à la recherche, le premier cycle. La bourse de recherche de deuxième ou troisième cycle Ingénium Université d'Ottawa sur le genre, les sciences et la technologie en sont quelques illustrations. Certaines et certains d'entre vous en ont peut-être d'ailleurs bénéficié par le biais du Centre d'expérience en recherche à l'Université d'Ottawa. You are a living proof that graduate students' research is central to uOttawa's overall synergies of research. It is all the more important to develop skills to improve knowledge mobilization that are crucial to disseminate your research outcomes beyond the academic sphere and to reach out to people whose lives they often impact. The Office of the Vice President Research recently awarded 9 exceptional doctoral students across campus with a $7,000 research graduate student knowledge mobilization training scholarship to help them develop their foundational knowledge and skills in knowledge mobilization by providing them access to workshops, mentorship, and network activities. L'attribution de nos bourses d'études supérieures témoigne des stratégies que le cabinet du vice-recteur à la recherche met en œuvre pour encourager non seulement la dissémination des résultats de la recherche, mais aussi pour mieux mettre en lumière les impacts que la recherche, que votre recherche a dans l'ensemble de la vie des Canadiennes et des Canadiens. Si les orientations stratégiques de la recherche établies par notre cabinet s'articulent autour des grandes thématiques liées à un environnement durable, au monde numérique, à la promotion de sociétés justes et de la santé et du bien-être tout au long de la vie, elles s'attachent aussi pleinement à favoriser l'interdisciplinarité et la mobilisation des connaissances. In this day and age where screens, the internet, social media play an increasingly dominant role in the way we access information, it is becoming essential for researchers to add science and knowledge mobilization to their skill sets. Avoir produit une vidéo de moins d'1 minute pour vulgariser votre recherche dans le cadre de uOGRADflix est une tâche colossale. C'est un exercice qui amplifie le rayonnement de votre propre travail et qui collectivement contribue à promouvoir l'ensemble de la recherche à l'Université d'Ottawa. Je vous dis bravo. Congratulations to all the participants for their contributions to the 2021 edition of uOGRADflix.
J'ai maintenant le plaisir de présenter le troisième bloc de vidéos. We will now watch the third block of videos.
You're sitting on a restaurant patio, catching up with a friend that you haven't seen since the beginning of the pandemic. They tell you a hilarious story. Do you A. Giggle, B. Do a full belly laugh, or C. Smile and nod politely? If you picked C, you are likely part of the 1 in 10 Canadian females who want to avoid urine leakage. Urine leakage is common among women, but not normal, and can occur during exertions like sneezing, coughing, or even laughing. To treat it, many women see a pelvic floor physiotherapist, but only up to 50% of women who start physiotherapy are cured of their symptoms. So how will you know if physiotherapy is worth your time, money, and effort? My research will investigate the role of nerves in the pelvic region and how well those nerves send signals to see if there are differences between women who are cured of their symptoms with physiotherapy and those who are not. My work will help save women time, money, and effort spent on treatment so they can quickly get back to doing the things that make them laugh without worrying about what might happen.
Here's the thing. We can't all build the pyramids. Hello. My name is Leah, and I'm a civil engineering graduate student. So, why did I mention the pyramids? Well, they've been protecting Pharaoh's secrets for thousands of years. That's a long time to perform exactly as designed. You can't say that about most structures built today. Just drive along a highway, and you'll see plenty of concrete bridges needing repairs. These days, once something has been built, that's just the beginning. Structures, like bridges, need constant inspections and maintenance so they can last as long as possible. We're always improving our concrete to make bridges better, although it is hard to beat thousands of years. That's where I come in. I study aging concrete so we can make structures last longer.
Can things change if you change the way you look at it? My research investigates gender and how gender could be if we look at it through different lenses. By different lenses, I mean lenses that are not binary or even dichotomic, as gender has been seen until now. I chose for my research to look at gender through African Brazilian and Native Brazilian lenses, which are totally different ways to understand gender and the world. And how gender will appear if we change lenses? Well, I cannot say it. But I know there are so many possibilities and amazing discoveries just by observing the same thing differently.
Did you know that although Canadian teenagers have a very good level of sexual health knowledge, still STI rates are increasing in Canada, and just between 2017 to 2018, 2,561 new cases were diagnosed with HIV in Canada? So what do you think is missing in our sex education system in Canada? We need to provide more facts and scientific knowledge, or prepare them by more communication practices? That's right. Safer sex communication practices have been increasingly recognized in sexual health behavior theories as a predictor of condom use behavior. Games can change attitudes and develop skills. And not games like this for sure, but maybe more like this. My goal is to develop a game that can be played collaboratively to practice the dyadic nature of communication and negotiation for safer sex practices.
Ever heard of HIV? This sneaky little virus is a causative agent of AIDS, and while there are effective treatments against this infection, there is no cure. Why? Because HIV can lay dormant for years, a state called latency. These latent viruses can be reactivated if treatment is interrupted, which is why our hopes for a cure lie in the eradication of latent viruses. HIV enters latency using various mechanisms, one of which takes advantage of a pause during the transcription or production of its genes. This pause is induced by a molecule called NELF latching onto HIV's genes as they are being produced. My study is focused on a molecule from the hepatitis D virus that stimulates transcription by competing with NELF, reducing this pause in production. Using this molecule on latent HIV could reactivate latent viruses. Upon reactivation, the previously hidden viruses would be recognized and eradicated. The overarching goal of my project is to prove that targeting NELF would be an interesting avenue for future antiviral therapies.
On va maintenant regarder le quatrième bloc de vidéos soumises par nos étudiants et étudiantes. We will now watch the fourth block of video.
Ma thèse s'intitule « Comme des robots, suivi d'assignation femmes, dépasser le sexe, le genre et le corps par la création ». L'assignation est le processus selon lequel des individus sont classés en catégories. Ces catégories peuvent concerner
le groupe ethnique, le genre, l'âge, le statut civil, les goûts vestimentaires, la classe sociale.
Mais les personnes ne devraient pas être classées. Les étiquettes peuvent avoir des connotations positives comme
écrivain reconnu, boursière, professeur de lettres.
Mais elles peuvent aussi avoir des connotations négatives ou entraîner une perte de crédibilité insurmontable. Et en écrivant des femmes comme
Annie Ernaux, Virginie Despentes, Vanessa Duriez, Catherine Millet, Christine Angot, Wendy Delorme et Constance Debré
fracassent les barrières de l'assignation au genre. Elles redeviennent singulières, complexes et multidimensionnelles. Et ma création, il s'agit d'une œuvre hybride entre essai, poésie et science-fiction qui vise à inventer une identité au-delà de toute assignation.
Interactions are a fundamental part of our everyday lives, including vital molecular interactions inside our cells involving units called GPCRs. GPCRs exist on our cell boundaries, binding natural stimuli or synthetic drugs, and communicating this information inside cells, regulating all our bodily functions. However, GPCRs must interact with other intracellular molecules to transmit these inputs. To study GPCR interactions, existing live cell technologies can only monitor one or a couple of molecules at a time. To address this problem, my project focuses on developing a system that can track thousands of them. My work will provide a clearer picture of GPCR functions since the types of molecules that a GPCR interacts with greatly affect cellular and physiological outcomes. This research has far-reaching applications, as my findings can inform drug design, specifically by favoring certain molecular interactions with GPCRs to increase benefits and reduce side effects.
Water is the source of life. In 2017, multiple wastewater treatments showing that total wastewater discharge reached 6.7 million tons. Among them, domestic sewage discharged as much as 3.4 billion tons, accounting for 56%. Industrial wastewater discharge was 2.06 million tons, accounting for 34%. Modern urban construction, including sewage treatment equipment that are designed for residential areas or highly pollution areas. There is underground sewage treatment equipment for every building. We have a tank for sewage treatment, but it takes a lot of time. How can wastewater be treated more efficiently? In our study, membrane and biomaterials act together, which can accelerate the precipitation and separation of sewage, so as to reach a faster, more efficient, and reusable method.
Think, plan, process, remember, feel. The brain does it all. But sometimes it can get a little foggy. We've all been there. We feel tired after a poor night's sleep. We space out during long Zoom calls. We forget where we left our keys. Brain fog is a minor inconvenience for most, but a constant debilitating struggle for up to 75% of those treated for cancer. Persistent cloudiness often results in poor mental health and makes it extremely difficult for cancer survivors to reintegrate into school, work, and social situations. The good news? Physical activity may help clear this fog, and that's where my research comes in. Using a survey, brain tests, and an interview, I aim to better understand brain fog and how it relates to physical activity in adolescents and young adults treated for cancer, in hopes of creating supports to improve brain health and quality of life for this understudied group.
This is a stramp. It is the combination of a stair and a ramp into the same architecture element. You can find them sprinkled everywhere around the world. Chicago really loves them. And here they are in Germany, and arguably the most famous tramps in Vancouver, British Columbia. You might come upon tramps on your walk around urban centers, but there's another way to find them. When you Google accessible design and look at the resulting images, several of them are tramps. Unfortunately, tramps only look accessible. Ask the people that use them and they'll see otherwise. They lack several design elements that are required in most design standards in Canada, such as proper handrails and tactile walking surface indicators at the top of the stairs. So then why were they built? This is what this research seeks to answer, and ask what specifically is the responsibility of civil engineers in the matter. People that use handrails will keep being led into a water fountain until building design professionals are properly educated on accessible design.
Bravo à tous les étudiants. C'est incroyable de voir la recherche qui est faite aux études supérieures sur le campus. Je vous lève mon chapeau parce que faire une vidéo d'1 minute expliquant votre recherche, c'est un exploit parce que vous avez travaillé des années, des heures et de résumer ça en 1 minute, c'est wow, c'est quelque chose de vraiment formidable. On va maintenant visionner le dernier bloc, le 5e bloc de vidéo. We will now watch the last block of the video submitted to the uOGRADflix competition.
Considerable attention has been devoted to yoga and positive psychology's effectiveness in promoting well-being. However, few empirical efforts have been made to study both of these topics within one intervention or course. For my research, I will be examining whether a yoga component can augment the benefits of an undergraduate quality of life course at the University of Ottawa in terms of several well-being variables, including mental health, happiness, subjective vitality, self-compassion, and mindfulness. Au cours du semestre, les étudiants auront la chance de participer à des séances de yoga hebdomadaires en plus de leur cours de psychologie positive. Will yoga practice further promote the benefits of the positive psychology course on students' well-being? Quel impact aura une composante de yoga sur la santé mentale, le bonheur, la vitalité subjective, l'autocompassion et la pleine conscience des étudiants? Will combining positive psychology courses and yoga open up new avenues for positive psychology education? Restez à l'écoute, stay tuned to find out.
Just like you, I heard that AI will take over patient care in diagnosis, treatment, prediction, and can outperform physicians. But what is this AI? And why don't we experience it on visiting hospitals around us? Ever thought about it? AI learns from data and solves everyday problems just like our brain. The main reason that we don't see a lot of AI-based solutions in our healthcare is that patients and physicians cannot trust AI. They often know AI as a black box because there is no explanation and transparency on how AI makes decisions. So if they can't see the reason behind AI decisions, how can they ever trust its results? Trust is integral to any relationship, and my research is to strengthen the bond between a doctor and technological advancement by opening the black box and explain the results to create a secure environment for patients and healthcare providers across Canada.
Did you know? Just like every good and bad thing in the world, there's good and bad fat in our body. Focusing on the green side, the good fat is called brown adipose tissue, BAT. Fat is abundant in babies and we lose it when we age. It is found in supraclavicular, paravertebral, and pararenal region in healthy adults. This tissue gets activated and pulled to generate heat by wasting a lot of energy and helps in regulating the body temperature. As BAT wastes so much energy, scientists are very interested to see if BAT metabolism can treat obesity. Now imagine what those delicious burgers that you munch on every day would do to the metabolism of BAT. To find an answer to this question, we fed mice with high-fat diet for 12 to 14 weeks. They grew into happy fatties during this time. Interestingly, these are special mice with glowing mitochondria. Thus, we'll use microscopy to determine the damage Western diet does to bad mitochondria. Some amazing techniques will also be used to carry out metabolic studies.
Congratulations, you've won an all-inclusive trip to a surprise destination, and you're leaving right now! As exciting as this proposal is, it's a little anxiety-inducing. You have no packing list, schedule, itinerary, and not to mention your own plans haven't even been taken into consideration. In other words, you're not prepared because you weren't given the information and supports necessary to plan and enjoy this experience. This dilemma is what many people labeled with intellectual disabilities experience when they transition from school to post-secondary and the workforce. Our research team hopes to gain a better understanding of the lived experiences of this population to understand the role that our profession, occupational therapy, can have on supporting them to thrive beyond secondary school. We will do this through the method of adapted photo voice, where participants can share experiences and perspectives through photography and interviews. We hope our research can contribute to the development of accessible and client-based transition plans to better prepare and equip schools with the tools and resources necessary to help their students thrive and enjoy their journey into adulthood.
Life can be found in the harshest environments. There is a lake in Antarctica called Lake Bonny, and if we look 17 meters below its ice-covered surface, we will find a curious little green alga called Chlamydomonas sp. uWO241. This species of algae lives in constant cold, darkness, and high salinity, and yet it thrives in its extreme climate. My work focuses on how uWO241 responds to changes in its environment. This alga must deal with extreme conditions, but it rarely experiences anything else. In fact, uWO241 is so well adapted to this lake that it may have lost the ability to react to temperature changes altogether. By studying its stress responses, we can discover what makes it so well suited to a life of perpetual cold. Unfortunately, since polar regions are at largest risk of climate change, this alga, which can't tolerate warm temperatures, is especially vulnerable. My work helps us better understand the effect that climate change will have on Antarctic life.
Wow! Félicitations à tous nos participants. It was edifying to view the amazing work on which our graduate students are engaged. As you can imagine, our jury had a difficult task of selecting the winners among the 25 finalists. Our students work hard, and I would like to congratulate each participant in the competition. Félicitations pour votre beau travail. Thank you for sharing your passion and your research with us. It is now time to vote for your favorite video. C'est maintenant le temps de voter pour votre vidéo favorite. In order to do so, we will provide you with the link in the chat. So you can vote. You will have 5 minutes to vote. Vous avez 5 minutes pour pouvoir voter pour le prix du public. On va revenir par la suite pour annoncer le ou la gagnante. Merci. C'est maintenant le temps d'annoncer les gagnants ou les gagnantes. We will start with the third place, and the winner is, roulement de tambour.
This is what my summer looked like. Let me explain. Research suggests that the effects of the COVID-19 lockdowns have led to mental health deterioration in around 70% of Canadian children and youth. So for my thesis, I tested an 8-week program called DREAM for kids ages 7 to 11 by simulating an online classroom environment. DREAM stands for Developing Resilience Through Emotions, Attitudes, and Meaning, and it teaches kids how to manage strong emotions like anger, fear, and sadness using crafts, games, and original music. I had one control group, an English class, and 2 test groups, a French class, and a class that was taught using webisodes that were produced to help teachers facilitate the program in their own classrooms. By using research to support the DREAM program's effectiveness at increasing resilience and decreasing mental health symptoms, we may help get this low-cost program into schools and help Canadian children increase their resilience to face life's inevitable challenges.
Na, the second place winner, le deuxième place pour le concours uOGRADflix.
Think, plan, process, remember, feel. The brain does it all, but sometimes it can get a little foggy. We've all been there. We feel tired after a poor night's sleep. We space out during long Zoom calls. We forget where we left our keys. Brain fog is a minor inconvenience for most, but a constant debilitating struggle for up to 75% of those treated for cancer. Persistent cloudiness often results in poor mental health and makes it extremely difficult for cancer survivors to reintegrate into school, work, and social situations. The good news? Physical activity may help clear this fog, and that's where my research comes in. Using a survey, brain tests, and an interview, I aim to better understand brain fog and how it relates to physical activity in adolescents and young adults treated for cancer, in hopes of creating supports to improve brain health and quality of life for this understudied group.
And then the first place winner, la grande gagnante ou le grand gagnant du concours uOGRADflix 2021 est...
Life can be found in the harshest environments. There is a lake in Antarctica called Lake Bonny, and if we look 17 meters below its ice-covered surface, we will find a curious little green alga called Chlamydomonas sp. uWO241. This species of algae lives in constant cold, darkness, and high salinity, and yet it thrives in its extreme climate. My work focuses on how uWO241 responds to changes in its environment. This alga must deal with extreme conditions, but it rarely experiences anything else. In fact, uWO241 is so well adapted to this lake that it may have lost the ability to react to temperature changes altogether. By studying its stress responses, we can discover what makes it so well suited to a life of perpetual cold. Unfortunately, since polar regions are at largest risk of climate change, this alga, which can't tolerate warm temperatures, is especially vulnerable. My work helps us better understand the effect that climate change will have on Antarctic life.
Félicitations à nos 3 gagnantes, Catherine de l'Université Saint-Paul, Sitara et Galina. Congratulations to the first winner of the 2021 uOGRADflix competition. Before to announce le prix du public, je vais faire durer le suspense un petit peu encore. J'aimerais remercier tous les participants et participantes au concours uOGRADflix félicitations pour votre beau travail. I got the chance to speak to some of you this week. You might not realize it, but some of the students have spent 50 to 60 hours preparing those videos. So congratulations for your hard work. Merci beaucoup. I'd like to also thank the family, the staff member, the professor qui supportent nos étudiants au cours de leur aventure académique. Merci beaucoup. I would like to also extend a special thank you to the thesis supervisor who mentors, support, and guide our students to become the researcher of the future. Thank you very much. C'est maintenant le temps d'annoncer le prix du public. It is now time to announce the People Choice Award, qui est la gagnante ou le gagnant. The winners of the 2021 People Choice Award is Sitara Sharma, Aimée Sciences de l'activité, Aimée in Human Kinetics. So congratulations, félicitations pour cet accomplissement et merci à tous les gens qui ont voté aujourd'hui. Thanks to all the people that voted today. An event like this takes a lot of work, so I'd like to thank some of my colleagues. Un événement comme aujourd'hui a pris beaucoup de travail, ça a pris beaucoup de travail, donc j'aimerais remercier mes collègues, les services et les départements qui nous ont aidés. Premièrement, j'aimerais remercier nos invités spéciales, Jill Scott, Sylvie Lamoureux et Madame Lagacé, Martine Lagacé, que j'ai oublié de remercier tantôt. Merci beaucoup. Nos juges, the judges, Talia Chung, Aline Germain-Rutherford, François Lamoureux et Guy Lévesque, merci beaucoup de votre temps et d'avoir classé et évalué nos vidéos. I'd like to thank the University of Waterloo Graduate Studies and Postdoctoral Affairs for, they're the one that created the concept of GradFlix, and they allowed us to use the concept and generally share their content. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank also the Copyright Office, le Bureau des droits d'auteur, Mélanie Brunet, qui nous a soutenus tout au long de la compétition. J'aimerais me remercier mes collègues du Bureau des études supérieures, en particulier Mayada El Malouf et Sophie Saint-Denis. Donc, un gros merci. Pierre Tardif pour le soutien technique aujourd'hui et également le service d'appui à l'enseignement et à l'apprentissage, Teaching and Learning Support Services. Un merci spécial à Gilles Laberge qui nous a aidés aujourd'hui, qui a fait le design du uOGRADflix, qui a fait toutes les vidéos. Un gros merci pour tout le travail exceptionnel. Thank you to all viewers that were here today. Merci beaucoup d'avoir participé à la première édition du concours uOGRADflix. Je souhaite qu'on puisse se voir en personne l'an prochain. I just want to mention that the winners will be invited to a special event to receive their trophy. The details will be sent to you shortly. And as well, the videos of the finalists will be available on our YouTube channel shortly, as well as a recording of this event. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day. Merci beaucoup et bonne fin de journée.